Hi, so what I'm talking about today is your mindset. I just had this kind of one of these things that hit me like a ton of bricks. You know, when you're sitting around and you may be listening to an audio or a video or something may get your attention, and it kind of is like an epiphany. It's kind of like you weren't even expecting it. Well, one of the things I was listening to, it talked about your mindset shifting, and one of the pieces that caught my attention was when your mindset slips back into an old pattern and you don't even notice. And she was saying how you have to stay on top of noticing when you are not staying in that same mindset. And this is big, for especially when a lot of people do all these resolutions and stuff like that at the beginning of the year. I'm not a resolution person. When I'm ready to do something, I do it right then and there. But a lot of people use the new year to jumpstart whatever thing they want to do. And I'm sure there are lots of successful people when it comes to resolutions. But something I do notice is that, okay, it's like weight loss is a big one. You see yourself losing weight, you see yourself doing good, and then all of a sudden you slip back into this mindset that got you in the sizes that you weren't interested in being in the first place, because it's like you get tricked almost to thinking like, well, I'm doing fine, I don't need the help. The same thing happens with people, I guess, when you've taken on a new habit or a new pattern or something in your life and you're trying to keep it up. And the first thing people do sometimes is allow themselves to slip back into the old mindset because the newness has kind of worn off, right? And most of these patterns, most of these habits and behaviors that we are leaving behind, it's for good reason, because they don't serve us. We don't want to have anything in our lives that's holding us back in any kind of way. We know it's about the journey. We know it's about the climb. We know it's about not the destination, but how, what it takes for us to become to get there. And so we have more patience for ourselves. But something that really sticks with me is thinking, trying to stay within the reality of what shifting back to the old mindset means. So if you say it's weight loss, say you lost the weight, say, now I haven't eaten carbs in forever. It's like, why not have a few carbs? I haven't eaten candy in forever. Why not have some candy? That's the attitude that happens with almost everything in our lives, right? So say we're on a good budget. We've been managing our money well. We've been having enough for what we need, for everything we need. And there's no wants and needs. We've been exactly in perfect order with having some good financial freedom and stability. And the first thing we think of is, well, I haven't splurged. And there's nothing wrong with getting a few things for yourself every now and then, but it just depends on what you're trying to do at that particular time. So we may do the same thing when it comes to money in our lives, right? We may treat it in a way like, I've been doing great all this time, then now I'm just going to go ahead and throw it all away on something that could have waited a little bit longer while I solidified my financial stability, right? Another one that's really big is kind of like the way that we let people treat us and how we allow ourselves to be treated in relationships with other people, whether it's our family, friends, children, relationships, romantic relationships. There's a mindset that shifts to bring on the healthy connections, and when the healthy connections are being compromised, usually we can look right back to our mindset and see that we shifted backwards, right? So I was thinking about my book. It was so crazy is that this is probably a little narcissistic, but I don't think so. This book, right? So this is my own book, Stop Waiting. It's around the house all the time. I'm always looking at it. This is kind of my proof copy, the one I went through and changed some things with. But I'll pick it up every now and then just to see if it's something that I'm impressed with. Because that's just the way I think. I'm like, is this as good as I thought it was when I first wrote it? So I'll keep it around and I just grab it. And sometimes I read sections and I'm like, hey, I wrote that. That was good, right? And then this little puppy, which is, the gratitude journal. I keep these two around the house. I'm always writing in this book. It's a daily thing. Then I write all during the day when something pops in my head. And then this book. So this is the section I picked up when I was thinking about mindset shifting. And this is the portion that really stuck out in my head. I had no idea that I was supposed to love myself enough to give myself what I needed, and that the people around me were all just bonuses and not the main event. I didn't know that I could be the main event in my own story. Everything was about other people and what they thought of me or who they thought I was, and nothing was about how I felt about me or who I knew I was. And this is one of those pieces in the book where I'm basically talking about the mindset it took for me to shift in order to put myself first and put myself on the forefront of my decision making. My own emotional well-being had to become a priority. And whenever I found myself in a place where I felt yucky or stuck or feeling bad or depressed or anxious or something, it was always because I had shifted away from this mindset and I was caught up on what people were thinking of me. I was caught up on not giving myself enough of what I needed, not having enough meditation, not taking enough time with myself to read literature and listen to audio that keeps me centered and in the right place and able to make good decisions and able to be a positive person. So it boils down to noticing when your mindset gets away from you, and being mindful, which is being in that present moment and being able to say, hey, and yank it on back, right? Because there's nothing like making these big strides and having all these accomplishments and doing great things to fall back into an old pattern and then kind of erase all the good work that you've done. And I think about this with weight loss. I think about this with money. I think about this with creating relationships with friends. It's like going into fear mode and letting somebody in your life that you know is not a good fit for you, right? Like, oh, what if I never find anybody else? You know, that's kind of thing that people do a lot. And you know that you've done work on yourself, that you have certain expectations, you have boundaries, you have ideas. You can see this perfect idea of a person that you want to have in your space, but still you let someone in your space who you know is not up to par and who you know is not exactly what you would prefer had you not been in fear mode. So it's noticing when your mindset slips away and then yanking it on back, right? So anyway, that's all I got to talk about. I hope you can glean something from my message and have a good day.